Good evening and welcome to the Hindustan Times Leadership Summit. I'm very delighted to announce that our guest this evening is Doug Mcmillon, the Chief Executive of Walmart. We've Every year we manage to get someone who's in the news or who makes big news, but I think it is a rare occurrence even for the Hindustan Times Leadership Summit in all its years to have someone come to us after his company has made the kind of announcement it's just done. Walmart announced just a few hours ago that it would source 10 billion worth of products from India every year starting 2027. I think it's one of the biggest sourcing deals ever announced from India. We are going to do this session in a slightly different way. Doug is going to speak at first. He's going to lay out his company's plans globally and in India. He's going to tell us what's happened because of COVID. And then he and I are going to have a small discussion. We will also be taking audience questions, which I will moderate and post to Doug. So Doug, welcome. Thank you for being on our platform. All yours.
Thank you, Sukumar. Hi, everyone. Thank you for having me here today at such a prestigious conference. I'm honored to join a remarkable group of leaders during the final week of this summit. It's helpful that we can still connect with each other virtually and learn from one another, but I do wish I was there. Sukumar and I were just discussing that. Within the minutes we have together, we'll discuss a number of things related to our business and how we're leading through the pandemic. I'll also elaborate on the commitment we made earlier today to more than triple our exports from India by 2027 to $10 billion annually. Let me begin with this pandemic period. Our experience began in China last January, and it certainly felt unclear and chaotic in those early days. A few weeks in, we gained the necessary clarity and picked up speed by focusing on a clear set of ranked priorities. Our top priority was clear from the start, and that was to do everything we could to support the health and safety of our associates. That led to a liberal leave policy, the use of PPE, changes to operational practices in our stores, distribution centers, and e-commerce fulfillment centers to include social distancing, reduced store hours, and limiting the number of customers in our stores. We are so proud of our associates. Around the world, they just keep showing up and stepping up. They have been courageous. Our second priority was to keep the supply chain moving. Our customers needed our merchandise, and it's been a big challenge to stay in stock this year. Our third priority was to help others. We realized we were going to be open and we had cash flow. This allowed us to do things like hire more than 500,000 people this year. Many of them had been laid off from other jobs as their businesses closed due to the pandemic. We forgave in-store rents and extended terms to our suppliers that needed it. We increased our charitable giving to food banks. Our fourth priority was to manage the business well in the short term and be conservative with things like our debt and cash flow management. Our fifth and final priority has been to further the strategy we started the year with, which we've been able to do. While we experienced differences from country to country, we found that these 5 priorities apply everywhere. In India, our teams had that same commitment to safety and service to our customers and partners. We trained our delivery teams in best practices for social distancing and sanitation. In the early days of the pandemic, Flipkart moved quickly to connect with suppliers and retail partners to ensure continuity of supply chains to get essential goods to consumers. The team worked with local partners ranging from small suppliers, Kiranas, to more established brands like Vishal Megamart, Spencer's, and Tata Consumer Products. In addition to working with our suppliers and employees, we created innovative new partnerships with local delivery companies, as well as new programs with Uber and Meru, all designed to help ensure products could be delivered. Flipkart, in association with HSBC, helped to facilitate and address working capital needs of suppliers, providing the equivalent of around $450 million to suppliers in need. Walmart and Flipkart are supporting small businesses with training for 50,000 micro, small, and medium-sized enterprises through our Walmart Ready program in India, and providing technical assistance for MSMEs with Flipkart's Sumart. Also, we're using the power of a purchase order from Walmart and Flipkart to strengthen local suppliers, and by offering other support to Indian communities throughout local giving efforts. And we're not just supporting manufacturers, we're also supporting farmers. Walmart Foundation has committed $25 million to programs to train farmers and help them reach markets more directly. And the foundation's already delivered on $15 million of that commitment. During this challenging year, these 5 priorities have come to life in India, but it's a country we have a long and diverse history in. For many years, we've had a long-standing purchasing or sourcing relationship, a large and very capable technology team, an educational retail JV experience, a wholesale business serving Kiranas, and very importantly, a lot of our company's leaders are from India. Some live and work in India, and many are working in our businesses across the world, including in the US. So when we invested in Flipkart and PhonePe in 2018, we were experienced and informed. We were also excited because, you see, we believe in India's future. Part of what is exciting in India is that it's a remarkably competitive environment. E-commerce only accounts for about 4% of total retail in India, and there are a number of companies competing in the market, including Amazon, Reliant, Snapdeal, Paytm, and many others. We think this is a good thing. Competition will improve services, bring down costs for consumers, and give additional value to producers. Customers in India today are getting high-quality goods at affordable prices from companies like Flipkart, Reliance, and Amazon. This competition will help local companies grow into global brands like Flipkart and PhonePe. Since our investment, we've been very impressed with how these homegrown leaders and tech companies have grown and performed. Our goal was to give them financial and other forms of support that would enable them to achieve their full potential, and they're well on their way. Flipkart's been the pioneer of e-commerce in India. It now has more than 300,000 sellers on its website, is driving convenience for suppliers and customers with a focus on greater adoption in Tier 2 and Tier 3 cities across the country, and has pioneered local innovations like cash on delivery, no-cost EMI, or no-interest financing, as well as easy returns, which make online shopping more accessible and affordable for Flipkart customers. This year, Flipkart's acquisition of the Best Price cash and carry business created Flipkart Wholesale, a business-to-business entity that will serve Kiranas to help them grow their businesses within their communities. The retail market in India is projected to grow to over $1 trillion by 2025, and Kiranas will benefit immensely from that growth. PhonePe's growth has also been astonishing. A market leader with 250 million registered users, it facilitates nearly 1 billion transactions a month, and it continues to innovate to drive the adoption of digital payments throughout India. As the platforms have become more robust, we've also been encouraged by the impressive work from our suppliers in India. They really stepped up when our customers needed it most. Take, for example, Manoj Kumar, whose business Panipat Bazaar sells handloom home furnishing products such as bed sheets, cushion covers, and doormats online. During the pandemic, his business was impacted, yet he pivoted and shifted his focus to face masks that were in high demand, meeting both the requirements of consumers while keeping his business afloat. Or Amit Gupta, or Dadaji Steel, a kitchen appliances retailer based in Patna who kept his operations going during the pandemic to meet the increasing demand of kitchen appliances as people stayed home. As I mentioned earlier, India is not only a priority for our e-commerce and wholesale business, but also for sourcing. Our sourcing relationship is more than 20 years old. My first buying trip to India was in 2004, and we've always found outstanding made-in-India items that our customers love. We currently source $3 billion of made-in-India merchandise each year. That includes apparel, homeware, jewelry, hardlines, and other popular products, which currently reach customers in 14 markets, including the US, Canada, Mexico, Central America, and the United Kingdom. As our business continues to grow, so does our interest in sourcing from India. That's why we made the announcement I mentioned earlier, a commitment to more than triple our exports from India by 2027 to $10 billion annually. The main categories for growth include food, pharmaceuticals, consumables, health and wellness, and general merchandise, along with apparel, homeware, and other key Indian export categories. We see a lot of potential for further growth in exports from India, and Walmart's business offers meaningful global market opportunities to made-in-India products. We've been working with some companies for many years. For example, Wellspun has been our supplier for more than 20 years, and we've seen them grow into a well-known global brand for home goods. Navneet Education, too, is a long-term partner. We've sourced office supplies from them for over 10 years now. We also continue to develop new relationships with companies. For the past 3 years, we've grown our relationship with local pickle supplier Global Green, first with sales in Canada and then the United States. These companies alone generate hundreds of millions of dollars of exports from India, and we see more companies joining them in the years to come. Throughout our history, areas in which Walmart has invested have seen solid growth because the markets we help suppliers to access and because of the affordable quality goods we provide to our customers. We have a track record of over 58 years providing value to customers, suppliers, and the communities in which we operate. Competition between Walmart and other retailers in the United States has kept inflation levels low and helped more consumers save more and live better. We're one of the largest taxpayers in the US, Mexico, and some other countries where we operate. We're the largest private employer in the US. We employ more than 200,000 associates in Mexico and nearly 100,000 people in India. Our export commitments show the value we drive for suppliers, as well as for the states and localities where they operate. India is an important part of the Walmart story, and all the work we've done in India is important to us because we've believed in your country's people and potential for a long time now. And this year has only made us more convinced about the tremendous opportunity ahead for both of us and the positive impact we can have together. And remember, we're still in the early stages of developing our business in India, but we're confident we can grow together. Our experience working with Flipkart so far has given us confidence in Indian companies and makes us feel upbeat about making investments like the one we announced today. The more the Indian economy opens, the more opportunities it will have to reap these benefits. The theme of this conference is defining a new era. We believe India is entering a new era. The country's growing and by many estimates will be the third largest economy in the world by 2030 and a leader in many industries. We're committed to supporting the economic growth of India, and this includes providing resources to local partners and taking made in India products global. We're honored to be your partner. Thank you again for asking us to join today.
Doug, thank you very much. I'm going to follow up with an immediate question on sourcing. Do you have any idea as to how much of this is likely to come from medium and small enterprises, MSMEs? Will some part of it, will a substantial part of it come from MSMEs?
We hope so. That's a hard number to estimate, but our job is to be accessible to them and to be able to deal in quantities that they can produce. We've got a lot of experience doing that. We did that here in the US. It's very important to our business in Mexico. So I would expect that would be the case. And what we try to do is partner in a way that we really understand what types of quantities MSMEs should produce so their business doesn't become too stressed too quickly. Growth is challenging for an MSME. So getting that pace right is something that we really focus on.
Is the supplier ecosystem where you would like it to be, or are you still having to, let's say, spend a lot of effort in developing that ecosystem to meet the Walmart standards?
Yeah, we're still putting effort in, but we do everywhere, including here in the US. That's just an ongoing part of what we do. There are new companies formed all the time, and partnering with them in a way that they can be successful is something that is a bit habitual for our merchants, and that'll be the same in India.
When, again, I'm going to ask you for a specific number. I know it's going to be difficult, but when you say you're going to triple it, right now you're doing around 3 billion.
Right.
How many suppliers contribute to that 3 billion?
Oh, I don't know that number. It'll be quite a few. You know, I think as you're trying to understand this, I think there'll be thousands of suppliers and producers that will emerge, some large, some small. And it's a bit like a living organism. It changes all the time. So it's not like we have a fixed number of how many suppliers we have. It's a very fluid part of our business.
But it's quite likely that since you're now trebling the number to 10 billion, it's quite likely that you'll have tens of thousands of suppliers who are contributing to this.
Yeah, that number will have to grow. And so I think one of the messages we're hoping to send today is that we're open for business and we want people to have great items to bring them to us. We're always looking for great merchandise. And so we're hoping this will generate even more suppliers than we've experienced before. We'll continue our existing relationships and add new relationships to it.
Doug, I'm going to move into more generic issues right now. And the first one is the pandemic. A lot of companies had business continuity plans, or they thought that they had business continuity plans before the pandemic struck. But you know, as Mike Tyson once famously said, everyone has a plan till you get punched in the face. And the pandemic was a punch in the face of many companies. How well prepared was Walmart? Were you ready for something like this?
We weren't totally prepared. I doubt anybody really was. We have a number of scenarios that we plan for. The ones that were most close to this probably relate to things related to hurricanes and other forms of natural disasters, where we move quickly to source product, we move quickly to reopen buildings and keep a supply chain moving. That happens around the world: earthquakes, tornadoes, hurricanes, and some of those same characteristics applied here, but not all of them, of course. And as I mentioned a minute ago, our number one priority was to keep our people safe in an environment where we're all learning about this virus real time. So we didn't have all the PPE we needed. We had to move quickly, and it didn't take very long. Our supply chain and our leadership team was able to move large numbers of masks, get plexiglass up in our stores, and do other things within weeks that typically we would have thought would have taken months. So I think the number one thing that helped us be prepared was a culture of fast decision making and being able to react. And so some components of our previous plans applied, but we had to learn and adjust real time just as everyone else did.
How easy has it been to manage a company which is as sprawling as Walmart? You're present in, I would think, close to 100 countries, at least your sourcing operations. You have tens of thousands of employees. How was it to manage things remotely?
Yeah, it's been challenging, but we have a great team. To your point, we have 2.3 million associates around the world, operating in 27 different countries with stores and websites, but we source in a lot more countries, as you mentioned. And one of the things that's been inspiring to watch this year is how our people have stepped up. I've been able to travel in the U.S. and go visit stores and distribution centers and visit with associates that are coming to work every day in stores serving customers, and they have been courageous. And then our leaders have been clear-minded, clear on our priorities, and have moved fast to make decisions. So in my role, my job is to support them and to try and give them what they need. So, my number one question, probably every year, but certainly this year, has been to ask our people, what more do you need? What else can we do? And then try to provide that for them in some way. And so this has been such a weird year. It's been a combination of being out in the U.S., Zooming like this around the world, adjusting just as everyone else has had to adjust. But, it's been difficult in many ways, but also been inspirational.
You made a huge investment in India a few years ago in Flipkart and PhonePe, as you mentioned. What were your objectives at the time you made the investment? And now 2 years later, are you happy? How close are you to achieving them?
We're really happy. And as I mentioned earlier, we've been in India for a very long time, and we understand how much potential is there. India is already a great place with a lot of people and a big economy, but it has potential to become something really special, and I think India is on its way towards doing that. So when we look at the market, the size of it, the demographics, the potential, we get excited. That's why we've tried to invest in the market in so many different ways, including through the retail JV we had with Bharti years ago, and the cash and carry business, which we are allowed to do. We would like to invest more in the cold chain and the supply chain. We have experience helping farmers raise yields and get paid more with a direct relationship, which is challenging in India, given that we don't have stores because multi-brand retail is not allowed in brick and mortar. So when we look at the market, we get excited. And then, as we become more of an e-commerce company, we started to understand the potential of e-commerce in India, and we got to know the leaders at Flipkart and PhonePe. And Kalyan and Samir and Raul and the team are just really great people and problem solvers and great leaders. And we became convinced that they could do what they wanted to do. And with some investment from us, they could spend less time on raising money to grow their business and spend more time on innovation and how they could serve marketplace sellers and customers. And so our role has been to give them those resources and then open up the rest of Walmart for them to take any IP that they want to take. But they make the decisions as it relates to running the business, and it's a very local business in that way, just with some money from us. And boy, we would do it all over again. They have really performed. The things we thought we knew about them before the investment have proven to be true. Great leaders, good problem solvers, very innovative. And so it's been great to watch their growth, and we're really pleased so far and look forward to continuing this for a long time and helping them, as I mentioned earlier, fulfill their potential. I mean, that's the idea. How do you fulfill your purpose, help people around the world save money, live better, have access to products, and work with great people solving problems. That's what I've been doing for 30 years, and we love doing it with those leaders as well.
India's foreign investment rules, and you referred to this when you spoke about multi-brand retail, for retail have been evolving over time. And one of the things that happened was some of them have been changed over a period of time, some changed after your acquisition. And there is some criticism of them that they are restrictive. Do you feel constrained by the current rules? Are they crimping your ability to grow in the country?
Well, rules change everywhere. We operate in all these countries, so it's not unfamiliar to us that government policies would change. Our big bet is that India is going to grow, and India wants competition because they want market dynamics. They want consumers to be able to save money. They want higher quality merchandise. They want taxes paid. If you want all those things, then you should be for investment and for competition. And some money will come from within India, and some money should come from outside India for India to fulfill its potential. So that's our long-term bet. Along the way, even before Flipkart and PhonePe came along, we experienced changing government regulations. So we expect that, but what we think is, as things evolve over time, great leaders will make good policy decisions, and things in general will open up for the reasons that I mentioned, and we can participate in that. And what we try to do with Indian governmental leaders and with all the stakeholders in India, as well as the other countries we operate around the world, is just keep demonstrating who we are. We're a company that operates with integrity, that has a mission of saving people money. We care about the environment. We work on climate. We've got this great project, Gigaton, work underway now where our suppliers are joining us to help take carbon out of the environment. We care about healthy food. We want farmers to make money. We've got the right incentives, many of which are completely aligned, probably all of which are completely aligned with what government would want. And it's our expectation that over time, people see that and they welcome us to invest, and then they hold us accountable for doing the good work that I'm describing. And when that happens, everybody wins and we build a good business. We tend to build bigger businesses on lower margins. That's the nature of our business, and we like that because that's the value model that we want for consumers. So we need to be able to invest in a broad section of the supply chain to deliver all of that. We can't just put capital in for the cold chain and have no profit centers in stores or an e-commerce business. The math has to all work out like any business does. And we think over time things will work out, and we're so excited about how it's gone so far.
So at some point in time, you would love to see Walmart and multi-brand retail in India?
Sure, but we don't make that decision. We'll be patient and try to show everybody that's good for the country and wait for our moment. And in the meantime, invest to support Flipkart, PhonePe, and this B2B business that we're building as Flipkart purchased our cash and carry wholesale business this last year.
Sure. Speaking of Flipkart, in recent weeks and months, there have been some reports that you're considering an IPO of Flipkart in the US or some other market. And I remember that even at the time of acquisition, the understanding was that at some point in time, there could be a listing for Flipkart. Can you tell us a bit about that?
Yeah, as we invested, we did mention that our plan is to IPO, and that hasn't changed. But I don't have any other specifics to share today beyond just pointing you to the model that we use in Mexico. We've been in Mexico for a very long time. Walmex is a public company. Walmart owns the majority, but there's a tremendous amount of float. It's one of the largest publicly traded companies in Mexico. So this idea that we could build a business and let multiple partners benefit from that, whether it's the customers that use these platforms or it's the people that invest. We today have other investors in Flipkart and PhonePe. We don't own 100%. So in the future, that could diversify in a number of different ways, including an IPO or IPOs. And Flipkart and PhonePe both need funding. They're both growing so quickly there's lots of room to invest. And we're excited about being a majority investor, but there's room for other people.
Last question, because I'm told you have to go. Have you seen consumer behavior change permanently because of the pandemic? Do you think they will go back to exhibiting the sort of behavior that they used to, or do you think the changes that have made are quasi-permanent?
I think most of them are permanent, behaviorally around the world, in India, in the US. But it's going to be really interesting to watch this next year or two, because a lot of people that I talk to, when they feel safe, they want to get out. They want to go places. They want to eat in a restaurant. They want to go to a store. So, I'm completely convinced that omni-channel retail is the winning formula. I think that's going to be the way that people are going to want to shop. One brand with a digital presence and a physical presence, a digital presence and a human presence. People like stores. They like getting out. They want to go with their family, and they like the convenience and ease of e-commerce and the breadth of assortment. So at Walmart, what we're trying to do around the world is to build out those capabilities, and then we'll let them decide how they shop. In the end, I think e-commerce as a percent of total, digital commerce, if I can call it that, will be a bigger percentage in 2021 and beyond, but stores will still have a big role to play in retail for generations.
Doug Mcmillon, thank you very much.
Thanks for having me. Good to see you.